Good morning everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. I am hiding in my greenhouse this morning because it is very windy outside. We're getting gusts up to about 30 miles per hour. Not consistent, you know, just a little bit. And it's only supposed to be windy just for a couple hours this morning. And then it's supposed to be in the 80s and beautiful. So I figured I would just do my gardening today. It's what I had planned and it's stuff that I really need to get done. I just feel like I'm behind on everything in the spring. There's so much to do. So hopefully you guys will be able to hear me okay. I do have a new microphone that I'm trying out to see if it helps with the wind noise, because the wind noise on my videos have been really bad. I apologize about that. So I'm just trying to see what can make it as least distracting as possible. So hopefully this video is okay for you guys, because I really want to get this stuff done. So today I'm going to be focusing on my monthly fertilizing. It's the beginning of the month, and one of the things that I wanted to work on this year was really focusing on the specific needs of the plants that I have, like basically taking care of what I have in my garden and and getting the most out of it. And so over the winter I did a bunch of research and was looking up all the things that my particular my shrubs and my plants needed for fertilizing throughout the year. And so I've got myself on a really good schedule. I'm not talking about my annuals fertilizing, with the water soluble fertilizer. I'm pretty darn good about being on a schedule with that. I schedule pretty religiously every week. Sometimes I'll be lazy and I'll do every other week, but I'm pretty good with that, and I was really good with it last year, so I'm not too worried about my annual fertilizing. It's my shrubs and lemon trees and bougainvillea, all the other stuff that doesn't need as consistent fertilizing, but I'm going to try and get myself on a consistent schedule. And that schedule is the beginning of every month, really hopefully the first. Today's the 3rd, I think, when I'm filming this, of May. So, I'm already a little behind. That's okay. So I'm trying to get myself on a really good fertilizing schedule and seeing what happens with the plants, what happens with how well they do and how necessary it is to really be this specific. So you'll see, I'll show you all the fertilizers I'm using today. It looks like I have a store here in my greenhouse. It's ridiculous. I would so much rather just do one all-purpose fertilizer, but that's what I did last year, and I just want to see the difference between really doing it the right way and doing it, kind of like the generalized way with an all-purpose fertilizer. So I'm going to be fertilizing, let's see, my improved Meyer lemon tree, my bougainvillea, my strawberries and blueberries, kind of. I'm going to acidify my blueberries. So I don't need to fertilize them, but blueberries like acidic soil, and we have neutral to almost alkaline soil and alkaline water. So I'm going to acidify the blueberries. I'm also going to acidify my azaleas that I have in my front yard, and it's time to cut those back. I'm going to fertilize my roses and my dahlias and strawberries. Did I already say that? Yeah. So let me show you guys all the fertilizers I have. I'm telling you, it looks like a store in here. Okay, I had to open the door. It is just getting too hot in this greenhouse. I don't like it, and I don't think my plants will like it this hot either. So you can see, here's my fertilizer store. So it's ridiculous, I know, but again, I'm just trying to see what happens if I do, the right thing, and see if it's a difference between what I did last year, which is mostly all-purpose fertilizer. So first I have this citrus and fruit tree food. I'm obviously going to use that on my improved Meyer lemon tree, which is just on the other side over here. Then I have this Dr. Earth Pure Gold. I'm going to use that on my strawberries. In the same berry barrel, I have blueberries, which is where I'm going to use the soil acidifier. And then I think I just told you guys that I was going to acidify my azaleas. I'm not going to acidify my azaleas. I'm going to use azalea fertilizer on my azaleas, and I'm going to acidify my Tiny Tough Stuff mountain hydrangea because I want it to be blue. I want to see if I can make it blue, basically. The hibiscus and palm food I'm going to use on my bougainvillea. When I was doing my bougainvillea care video, I was doing a bunch of research on it, and I found a whole bunch of different sites that were saying that hibiscus and palm food was really good for bougainvillea and helped with the flowering. So bougainvillea is, you don't want to overdo fertilizer, especially the nitrogen in fertilizer, because then you can get too much leafy growth, which is the opposite of what you want in a bougainvillea. So using this is supposed to emphasize the bracts, which is where you get the color from. You guys can see there's my purple queen. So I'll be doing that. In the same vein of not having too much nitrogen on my dahlias, I'm using this Ultra Bloom plant food, which is actually a 0-10-10. So nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the nitrogen is 0. So nitrogen helps with leaf growth. And so if you have a 0-10-10, it's not going to encourage leafy growth. It's going to encourage bloom growth. And so that's obviously what you want on dahlias, and that's obviously what you want on bougainvillea. So I'm going to try those two. Again, last year I barely fertilized my dahlias and they were fine. And when I did fertilize, I used an all-purpose food. So, you know, I'm sure this isn't necessary. It's just something fun that I'm trying out. And then I have my Eden climbing roses that are in their first year. And I purchased them from Heirloom Roses, which I recommend. They were fabulous. I was so happy with them. But Heirloom Roses encourages, or I would say insists, that you don't use granular fertilizer the first year on their roses because they say it will burn the roots, and so they want you to use a liquid fertilizer. And I have been using Neptune, just the regular Neptune's Harvest in the blue bottle, but I saw this at the store, and so I grabbed it, and I'm going to try this month. And then finally, I have some ironite. I do have some chlorosis on my limelight hydrangeas, specifically in my front yard. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of this. I figured I'd do that all in the same day. So I do want to emphasize that I am not recommending that you guys go out and purchase all these fertilizers. You know, I always say that gardening is an art and not a science, and this is obviously approaching it way too much as a science. I think that an all-purpose fertilizer is perfectly fine, or even just using compost. You know, I'm just trying this year, and I just want to see what happens. It's just something fun that I'm doing, and I thought it would be fun for you guys to watch it as well and see how my plants do using these specific fertilizers. I do think that this is a bit overboard, you know, and I don't want you guys to think that this is my ultimate recommendation, because it's not. You know, I'm a relatively new gardener as well, and part of the fun of gardening is just experimenting with different techniques and different ways of doing things. So last year I really emphasized on ease and doing all-purpose fertilizer and not very much. This year I'm going a little bit more in depth, and I'm just going to look at the difference and see how it does. All right, so I just wanted to say that because I didn't want you guys to feel like you had to go out and buy all these specific fertilizers for everything. So it is not the best day to do this, obviously, because there's going to be wind and I have granular fertilizer. My plan is just to wait in between gusts. It's not a consistent wind, it's kind of just a little bit gusty. So I'll wait in between gusts and then I'll try and put the fertilizer on. Wish me luck that that works. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so first step, we have my improved Meyer lemon tree. This is a 12-inch pot, and the recommendations on the fertilizer package is 1 tablespoon per every 6-inch pot. So I'll just put 2 tablespoons in, you know, guesstimate, and then I'll scratch it in and then water it in. And all done. Okay, onto the bougainvillea. Okay, so now for the bougainvillea, I'm going to use the hibiscus and palm food. It is so windy, you guys. Hopefully this audio isn't terrible. So I'm going to use the hibiscus and palm food. It says about a half a cup for smaller plants. I'm going to consider these smaller plants, and I'll just, again, scratch it around the bottom. So I have 5 of my bougainvillea all the way along the south-facing wall, and I'll just put these in, and then I'll water them in. So one really important thing to note about bougainvillea is that you don't want to overwater it. I feel like that's one of the main things that people do wrong with bougainvillea. If you water it too much, it'll really start to show signs of stress. I know this because I've done it. So these bougainvillea are not on drip. We barely get any rain. I think the last time I watered these was over a month ago. So as I'm watering in this fertilizer, I'm gonna do a deep soak, and then I'm not gonna touch it with water again, you know, as much as I possibly can without getting overspray or anything on it. I'm not gonna touch it again for about a month. almost forgot my purple queen. Okay, and now for my berry barrels. I'm going to use the soil acidifier, and then I'm also going to use this all-purpose plant food for my strawberries. And I'm only doing a little bit, so I'm only going to use this, I think. Yummy. So these are my seascape strawberries, and they are doing fantastic. I am really happy with them. Okay, and then over here are my quinolts. Not as good, but they're starting to bump up a little bit. You can see they're getting a little bit bigger. All right, let's get some soil acidifier on the blueberries. So I don't even think I'm going to measure. I think I'm just going to take a handful and just spread it all around the base of the blueberries. First, pulling back my mulch. I put microbark mulch in these barrels, and I'm really liking it because I think it holds in the water way better. I think the plants are happier with that. All right. Onto this one. Okay, all done with the berry barrels. It is getting really windy out here. Almost time to go inside. Okay, time for a bloom break. Augusta lavender heliotrope. Isn't that pretty? And with a Supertunia Mini Vista pink star. I'm so excited about this combination, you guys. Aren't they beautiful? And apparently these are gonna get big, like big, big. So I have a feeling they'll be kind of hanging over, but very pretty. All right, I'm in my front yard now. I'm gonna move on to my dahlias, which are all along this black fence right here. First off, another bloom break. Look at these Superbena whiteout. Isn't that insane? It's like solid white, and it's totally taken over my dahlia pathway. I don't even care though. I think it is gorgeous, so pretty. So I fertilize these with the annual fertilizer. So I do it every week, and I just come, you know, after I'm done doing my Supertunias, I just come over here and I just spray them with the water-soluble fertilizer. Obviously, it's working beautifully. These are osteospermum that I do want to take out. I'm not totally happy with those. They're just kind of a generic African daisy. So I'm going to take those out, and then I think I am going to cut back the white out a little bit because it's a lot. It's beautiful. It is a lot. Okay, so over here on the dahlia fence, most of them are coming up great. I do have 3 that are either not happy or I don't know what's going on. Right here is supposed to be a white perfection. No signs of it. And I think there was signs of everything. Maybe there was a couple that were struggling. Over here I have Cafe au Lait, which I'm really bummed about. I really want it to come up. And then right here I have Franz Kafka that I don't see anything as well. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just out of luck and they're just not going to sprout. I thought I saw sprouts when I was planting them, but maybe the earwigs got to them, maybe the slugs got to them. Everything else looks absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fertilize it with the Bloom Booster fertilizer. roses. So I have first year Eden climbers in my front yard. They're climbing up over an arch, and I cannot wait for them to grow nice and big and beautiful over this this metal arch that I have. I'll show you in a second, but I'm going to use this Neptune's Harvest Rose and Flowering Fertilizer. And the reason why I am using this and not something like a granular rose fertilizer, which I do have, is, again, like I was saying, I got my roses from heirloomroses.com. Fabulous company, really happy with them. I will link them down below, but they insist that, well, they very, very much urge you to use a liquid soluble fertilizer for the first year, because they think that a granular fertilizer will burn the roots of the baby rose, of the first year rose. So I'm gonna follow their instructions like I am with everything else, and I'm gonna use this guy. Ugh. Yummy. This stuff is so gross. All right, there's my arch. Doesn't it look beautiful? So I have an Eden climber right there and an Eden climber right there. You can kind of see the blooms. So this is first year. I just installed this last November, so it's just starting to get going here. Let me get you guys a little bit closer. And one of you in the comment section gave me a fantastic tip, and I really appreciate it. And that was to not, when I fertilize with the water, is to not fertilize the leaves, to actually go down on the base, which is the opposite of what I normally do with my fertilizing. I usually use it as like a foliar fertilizer, but the commenter said not to do that with roses. So I really appreciate the tip. Thank you. And that is exactly what I'm going to do right now. All right, and then over to this one. This one I think gets a little bit less sun than that one over there, and so I think that that's why this one's a little bit behind. But there's 3 blooms right here, so it's doing great. 3 buds, I should say. All right, so almost done. Last couple things I want to do. One of them is fertilize this Bloomathon pink double azalea from Proven Winners. It was really pretty, beautiful pink when blooming. This is a baby plant, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it back just a little bit, and then I'm going to put the azalea fertilizer on. And then this one is actually supposed to bloom again, which I'm excited about. So I have that, and then over here I have my Tiny Tough Stuff mountain hydrangea, again from Proven Winners. Look at this. I've got a blue bloom. I'm very excited about this. So this hydrangea is supposed to be the one that's most likely to stay blue, even if you have a little bit more acidic soil and water. So I am really happy that I have blue blooms here. I do have some pinker ones over here. You know, they are a little bit pink, but there's some blue ones there, and there's some blue ones there. So I'm just going to keep acidifying the soil and basically see how blue I can make it. I like the pink blooms. I think that they're beautiful, but I just wanted to see what I could do. So I have those 2, and then I have this Abudilon, is that how you say it? Flowering maple. This is Tellini's pink. It's so beautiful. I love this plant, and they do so well for us. I am planning to train it up this wire right here, so I just have to keep, you know, kind of connecting it to that. And then I'm hoping, you can see, hello, I'm hoping to grow it kind of up here and have kind of like a wall of flowering maple right there. The one thing we do deal with is it does get iron deficient. You can see there's a good example right there on that leaf right there. So you do have to kind of put some iron on that. And then the other thing I want to put some iron on is my limelight hydrangea. You can see that that's, well, can you with the shadow? That's starting to get some chlorosis as well. So I'm going to do this one, and then I have one more right over there that I'm going to do as well. And then after that, I am done. fertilized and ironed, however you say that, and acidified. So everything that I wanted to get done today, I got done, even in this wind. So I'm really proud of myself about that. And I really hope the audio wasn't too affected for you guys. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. If you have any suggestions, all you AV people, I will take them because I need them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I feel like I really want to emphasize that you don't need all the fertilizer that I'm using. You know, you don't need all the specific fertilizer. I think doing it with an all-purpose fertilizer or even compost is absolutely wonderful. I am just having fun with it this year and just trying to see what happens if I use the specific fertilizers. So I just want to emphasize that for you guys because I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by watching a video like this. I feel overwhelmed by doing this type of stuff, you know, because it's a lot. It's a lot of specific and looking up each specific plant and what specific fertilizer it needs. So I am just having fun with it. I'm just experimenting, but just make sure that you guys don't get too overwhelmed with all of it. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please consider subscribing, and I hope you all have a chance to get into your garden today as the wind picks up. Okay, have a good day. Bye.